Welcome to TomBob Outdoors and Friends in Wild Places. I'm Raleigh Cogan, your host, and today we're on our way to a black bear den. We're going to meet some wildlife professionals with the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and we're going into a bear den. Last year we took you into a bear den, a radio-collared sow, and she had yearlings with her, and this year she's got newborn cubs. So if you think about this, it's been a really, really tough winter here in Pennsylvania in 2013 and 2014. We've had extreme temperatures, 20 to 25 below zero without the wind chill, snow cover for the last 3 months. And you know, we're sitting at home huddled up to the fire, keeping warm, and wildlife is out here surviving. Black bears are one of the most fascinating animals, really adaptable. And they're out here. Not only are they surviving, they hibernate, they adapt to survive winter, but the pregnant sows are giving birth to newborn cubs while they're surviving winter. So we're at home huddled up to the fireplace, and these animals are out here getting through winter. And we're going to take you into a den today, and we're going to show you a radio-collared sow. It may be one of the sows in the state that they've been following for the longest time. For 13 years, she's had a radio collar on her. And up until this point, we'll see what we see in there today, but she's produced 17 cubs over the last, her lifetime of 16 years. So it should be really interesting. So come along with the crew of TomBob Outdoors, follow the camera crews into a bear den here in north central Pennsylvania.
Walking on the wild side, wide open every time, letting it fly. You can find me high on the mountaintop, floating down a river rock, living for the ride. If you really want room to run, I'll show you where to get it done. Step off the back porch, jump across the fence, don't let the barbed wire catch you in the pants. I'll be waiting in the bottom by the TomBob Creek. Come on, take a walk on the wild side, baby.
I want to be the first to greet you again. How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good. You can see it.
You've been fine?
Winter's been a long one. It won't end.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I can get you a half a mile with no snow at all.
I know it's a little tight in here, but I think it'll just save us time. It takes about a half an hour for these guys to get all their darts loaded and ready to go, so I just figured it'd make more sense to do it here. Once we get all this done, I'm going to just give everybody a quick briefing so we know what's going on, because once we get there, we have to keep down, not to alarm the mother, because we certainly don't want her to run off. But that's why we brought all these young boys with us, so if she does run off, they can go get her and bring her back. So,
this is a really unique black bear. I will tell you, I came to Elk County in 1998, fascinated by wildlife, love elk, and uniquely at that point, Raleigh Cogan, the CEO of the Keystone Elk Country Lions, was our elk biologist, and he had given me an elk collar because I wanted to put a collar on a black bear. And so I happened to catch on the morning of 9/11, 2001, I had some cubs in a culvert trap and a sow outside the culvert trap, very agitated. There were other bears in the area through the night. She had been defending this trap because of her cubs were in there with other bears. In fact, she took on another bear as I got there. So by the time I arrived, my purpose was to get a dart into her so I could handle her, but more importantly, get her cubs out of the trap. Now, it's obviously September 11th. I think these cubs were weighing around 35, 40 pounds at that point. But it took a long time. I mean, it really took a long time. I think I had to dart her twice from the vehicle. I couldn't even get out of the vehicle. Then I had to use a dart or I'm sorry, not a dart, but a jab stick. As she laid on the ground, I could get close to her, but I couldn't handle her. So I used the jab stick, and then I actually had to use a hand syringe. Just literally take the drugs in a syringe and inject them into her before I could even handle her. So being that she was a female and I had an elk collar, I put an elk collar on her. And that was on the morning of 9/11, and I'll never forget it. You know, that was all I could think about. I had bears, I had you know, this mother, I had the cubs in this culvert trap making a lot of noise, and there was a lot of adrenaline on my part. And by the time I got it all done and everything was kind of settled, I had radioed into the regional office, and there was this silence on the radio. And they came back, and I said, I need some information. I'm working on some bears, and you know, again, there was some silence, and the voice came back, you know, do you have any idea what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm up to my ears in black bears right now. And they're like, well, you better turn the radio on. We think we're being attacked. And so this bear's always meant a lot to me.
But bears are hibernators. They just do a little different form of hibernation. I mean, she is awake, she's alert, she's grooming these cubs every day, she's nursing these cubs every day. These cubs were born about the second week of January, so they'll be about 8 weeks old today. So she is capable of running from the den or defending the den as she needs to. We're trying to get the dart in her as quick as we can before she gets too nervous. And so if we keep the whole group back a little bit until that process is done, it just makes it a little easier. You know, the bear is less stimulus going on, she hears less noise, she feels less threatened. So once we get that down, once we get her down and under our control, then we'll bring the group up a little closer, take the cubs out of the den, give the cubs to the group. You guys will be responsible for taking care of those cubs while we work on the mother. She needs just a general physical. It's a chance once a year to put our hands on her to see just how she's doing. So, you know, we just want to give her a physical, just see how she's doing. We want to do maintenance on the radio collar, readjust the fit, make sure everything's good there. And that process might take 20 minutes or so. And so you'll have the cubs for about 20 minutes. Keep them warm. If they start to cry or squirm around too much, just open your coat up and put them in your coat. They'll quiet right down. And then after about 20 minutes, we'll come and handle the cubs. We're going to record the sex, put ear tags, weigh them, just kind of give them a general physical also. And so things start to really pick up towards the end. You know, at that point, the bear's now been under anesthesia for a half hour or so. We're trying to get those cubs tagged at the end and get them back in the den because we want everybody to be leaving while that bear is still asleep. We want her to awaken from this in a quiet environment without a lot of noise. So we'll at about 25 minutes or so, you'll see me coming with a scale, and at that point things really pick up.
Guys, look out. Just everybody stand still. Just stand still.
When they're nestled in there, are the babies up against the tree and the mother's protecting them?
She had her back curled out this way, her tail tucked in that way, and her head around that way. And that space that was created in that arch is where the cubs were. She's not taking in any solid foods. She's not taking in any fluids.
the cubs are taking in fluids through nursing. So all the milk that she produces to feed the cubs and the biological needs for water that her own body has all come from an internal process.
Do you hear it? This is the sweetest thing. This is just wonderful. He's scared. He's just scared.
Welcome to Friends in Wild Places.
Hey, Mark, tell us what you're doing. Put some oxygen into it?
Yeah, we, the bear is under anesthesia, so respiration does depress some because of that. We had to give her some extra darts because you saw she tried to leave the nest. So just as a precaution, we have it. We might as well use it. So we're replacing the leather splice on the collar. These collars, we change them about every 4 years, but the belting would last much longer than that. And it's electronics, like any electronic, they might fail. So if the electronics were to fail or she would go somewhere where we couldn't find her, we wouldn't want her to wear this collar her whole life. So what we do is we insert a weak link in the chain, and that's actually made of saddle leather. And our experience is these degrade in about 2 years. So the worst case scenario is that the collar would stay on for about 2 years and then fall off.
It drops off, yeah. It just basically rots away.
Yeah, we've got the bear in our hands, so we might as well replace that.
So Mark, what's the battery life on that?
I think when they calculate out possible battery life, you can go up to 7 years. Warranted, I think it's 3 to 4 years they warranty them. We change them about every 4 years. This was put on in 2012. So it would come off in 2016. So it's 2 years old at the moment.
That technology's come a long way.
Well, there's all kinds of advances. They now have GPS collars and satellite collars and collars that transmit data by cell phone and
You've got video cameras now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this is just a standard, your basic radio collar, which has pretty much been in that form for 20 years or more. So for this particular project, it fits our needs, and it's what we use.
Look at this den now. I mean, this is, right at the base of that big bulb. I mean, is this the den site that you would have issues with when we get spring thaw and we get some water?
Well, this isn't a very low area. There is a puddle of water here behind the den, but I would say she's pretty safe from anything like that. It certainly served her well over the winter. Look at the condition. Look at the condition.
Winter doesn't get any worse than this, yeah.
So it's been a good den for her. It's almost identical to a den we saw her in 2 years ago with cubs. Same exact makeup, just a different spot. And it's a pretty typical den, open air. Like a lot of people are surprised that a bear is that exposed in the wintertime. Snow falls on the bear and everything else, but it served her well. So, the average adult female weight in Pennsylvania is about 250 pounds. So she's above average. We had a relatively...
What do you think she is, close to 3?
Yeah, I'd say she's 320, something like that. Yeah, she's over 3. We had a fairly widespread acorn crop failure last year, but of course we're north of that in the state now. We're up into the beech cherry forest, and so we can have to talk to the local WCO, their local officer, what his perception of the cherry crop was, but she clearly found something pretty good. And we, in the oak part of the state, where the oak forest dominates, we had a lot of bears move around in the fall, looking for food. And so it was pretty clear that the acorn crop was off this year, but she certainly found something. You want to give this a try?
Yeah.
So they go in like this.
Yep.
When you're here. Right here at the elbow, all the way back underneath.
Yeah, left side.
And it'll be slow. and it tends to pick up with each breath, so the rate will pick up. Find it? So Quig respiration was 12. Left ear tag 19098. 19098. She's missing her right. And the lip tattoo is illegible. Can't read it. What'd you come up with?
18. So times that by 4.
Wow.
72? 72.
That's good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
72 for heart rate.
I'm Doty McDowell. Stay tuned to Friends in Wild Places.
That cub being born in mid-January was 8 ounces at birth, which is, the size of a soda can.
Right.
And that's how much they've grown, and they're probably 8, 9 weeks old right now.
Yeah.
So that's,
I mean, if you think about that, it's pretty amazing because an animal that can grow to be 700, 800 pounds is some of these mature males, and they're a few ounces when they're born. I mean, that's quite a ratio from birth to an adult.
well, we know the average birth weight or average live weight of cubs in the fall, in November, is about 80 pounds. So those cubs will weigh 80 pounds in 11 months. So they've gone from a half a pound, 6 to 8 ounces, to 80 pounds in 11 months. And she probably went into hibernation in mid-November, is pretty typical for pregnant females. And here we are mid-March, so is that December, January, February, March? That's 4 months that she's been without food or water. And will stay here for at least another month and a half yet. It'll be, April probably before she comes out.
And how much weight will she lose?
Typically they lose about 30% body weight through the winter. So come spring, if she weighs 300 pounds, you could add another 90 pounds to that to estimate, what she would have weighed going in the fall.
Right.
So she would have been on the way heavy side for a female going
she
into
was
the
in great
den.
shape.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have a scoring where we feel on various points on the bear and kind of feel for bone prominence and just general score. It goes from 0 to 5, and 5 is think of a captive animal, fed every day, very heavy, and 0 would be a starving, emaciated bear. And we'd probably rate her. She's maybe a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, she's pretty good shape.
16 years old.
Yep. What's your name?
Emily.
Emily, sit down here. So you can feel right there the old hole. Feel it right there.
Oh, yep.
And so
It closed
it's
up
just
a little
that
bit.
somehow the tag just failed. She's apparently had a tag there that tore out, and then she has another hole there that the tag must have just failed. So you can see it's healed up pretty nice. So, but
Same spot?
just as a precaution, we'll put a little bit of this in the hole. And then try to line that pin. Go ahead and just feel it. You'll feel it fall into the hole.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yep, just squeeze it. There you go. That's it.
Ta-da.
And then we check to see if it worked. And it did. Yeah, so these are what 16-year-old bear teeth look like. They're still in pretty good shape. Her canines still look good. Some wear on her. It looks like she's got a loose incisor there, but they're somewhere. Her molars still look good.
Okay, this is a female. We're keeping track. I wasn't even close. What do you think they weigh?
4.5. No way.
6'2". 6'2" female.
Oh, wow.
It's like a bass. This is like a bass fishing tournament. And the winner is.
So, did you notice the prominent blaze?
She looks like she has a lot more milk.
See this white blaze on her chest?
Yeah.
I want to get down that dirty.
So,
A female. Chest blaze.
6'2".
need somebody to help me.
You're getting out of this job right at the right time with feet.
You want to hold?
Doesn't matter to me.
Here, why don't you watch the first one?
Okay.
Hold your hand
For
out.
those of you that may not know, Doty's been the conservation officer up here for 14
16.
years, 16 years. He is now
I'm as old as the bear.
He's going to be the land manager for
A little betadine on the
He starts next month. So he's kind
This won't hurt me as much as it hurts you.
The next conservation officer's problem.
Yep. Just in case they lose one.
Oh, okay.
They get 2 separate numbers.
Sorry.
Oh, that's a big one. She's gonna fur. Oh no.
We can do piercings and he can do a tattoo also.
Like a champ. There you go. This is why we do this before they have teeth.
If it was
Probably tattoo numbers.
Oh yeah, I would.
No. No.
Very nice cub.
This will be her numbers forever. We put 2 in just in case they lose one.
We return to the dens every year, so we'll see this radio-colored female and these cubs as 1-year-olds a year from now, and so we'll be able to see if any of them aren't there or not. And we rarely do we see cubs missing from the litter. So, you know, that everything, and we've put trail cameras on dens after we've left a few times, and everything seems to work out fine. The bear recovers nice and slowly. The cubs don't want to leave the warmth of her. We'll try to remove any scent from these. We'll rub some leaf litter on the cubs, and they'll have time to crawl all over her before she wakes up. So they smell like her by the time she wakes up. And we generally don't see much problems with that. They've been very cooperative, but they want to see their mother again, so that's where they're headed.